Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to go over my Q&A. You guys had some really good questions that I want to answer for you. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so no makeup on tonight. Today was a skincare heavy day, and I just didn't feel like putting makeup on. There's really not a complicated answer or explanation to give. Just didn't feel like it, don't really care, and I feel like filming. So we're going to go through your questions. Some of these were really good, and I'm going to try to focus on ones that I haven't really talked about. Some of these might be their own videos, some might not, but I'm just going off my memory from ones that I saw coming in. So let's just start from the top. The first one is, as you cover various channels, my question is, why do you never address the creators/channels who cover you? And I kind of addressed this in a separate video a few days ago. I will link it down below. But my entire kind of philosophy on that is I don't want to get into a tit for tat with any fellow creators. If somebody doesn't like me, they don't like me. And the few times that I have heard or tried to hear people out, their content usually comes from a place of hatred. And some of these people have hated me for a very long time. And the only solution to their problem would be for me to delete my channel, stop making videos. People that don't see the issues with family vloggers a lot of times don't like commentary channels that call out families like the Doherty Dozen or the Ace family. Any of these family channels, if somebody looks at these family channels and doesn't see the issues that I'm seeing, then my content is just a hater. You're salty, you're a bitch, you think you're better than everybody else. I don't think I'm better than anyone else. Technically, all that I can say is if we're going off the basis of their content versus my content, yeah, I'm not here exploiting people in my family who count on me for safety and security. And as far as people, anyone who thinks I'm just like some snobby bitch who's just way too opinionated, those people I can't really help. So it's not necessarily for me to constantly clarify my stance. I feel like I do that often enough. And in fact, I do it too often. And going forward, I'm going to try to be better about that because I've really learned over the past year, being a people pleaser and having a commentary channel, those two are not going to mix. They're not going to mix for very long. Either your mental health is going to take a hit, or you're just going to constantly be coming out with videos saying, oh, well, this is actually what I meant. I'm sorry I upset people because I had this opinion. My content comes from a place of being genuine, being a concerned viewer of the content that I come across online. And my channel has never come from a place of hatred or jealousy or bitterness like some people think that it does. These family vloggers have nothing that I would ever be envious of. Point blank, period. I have seen people on YouTube and TikTok where they're people pleasers. So they're opinionated and they want to do commentary or give their opinions, but they're people pleasers and they really shy away once people get upset at this opinion that they had. And you kind of start chasing your tail. So I know for a fact that my content comes from a pure place, even if not everybody agrees with it. It's never come from a place of hatred or wanting to make someone else's life misery. And I'm damn sure not bullying anybody, and I can stand on my content and feel good about it. So either way, that's kind of my stance. I'm not doing the tit for tat thing. I've made the mistake in the past of responding to people who didn't like me. And I realized very early on that just wasn't going to really get anywhere. And it was better left as is. If you don't like me, that's cool. If you don't like me, chances are I don't like you either. So it's all good. Let's just make her content and move on. Now, just to clarify before I move on to the next question, I don't know of a lot of this stuff, but the few times that I have seen it, I've just kind of gathered myself and come to the realization that I discussed earlier. But if subscribers or people come across my channel, leave feedback, or a lot of you guys have sent me notes on Instagram or an email to say, hey, this is how I feel. Here's a little bit of education and why I feel this way. And we can have a two-way conversation about it. I have done that numerous times, and I'm open to it. I'm just not open to it if your main criticism is family vloggers are not, quote, that bad, and you're just a bitchy bully who is riding coattails of family vloggers. Like, that small-minded mindset. And, you know, some of these people too, it's really funny because some of the people that are trying to call out others for having all of these issues, they should probably clean their own house before they sit there and try to hold others accountable. And that's what I will say for now. Next question is, I'm wondering if you can tell us about if or how your thoughts about how you see your plans for your channel and your content now versus a year ago. What content would you like the best to do commentary about? And what is the content you like the least? How do you think you're doing now versus earlier? Are you planning what to say and how you're criticizing in your videos? Is there anything that you feel like you can speak more freely on, and anything now that you're more guarded or cautious about? So these are really good questions. Let's just go through them. As far as my plans for my channel, those have remained the same since I started YouTube. My goal was never to be a full-time YouTuber. I am not here to be a full-time content creator. I will give you guys like my picture perfect scenario would be if it ever got to a point, and as a side note, I am 100% content and happy where I am right now. But if my channel were to grow to a point where I felt like, okay, I would like to focus more on YouTube now than other things, my picture perfect scenario would be to work part-time, so maybe like 25 to 30 hours a week, and be able to devote some extra time to YouTube. I don't see my plan changing. I really don't, because I've said for the longest time, people put too many eggs in their YouTube basket and they will grow to 100,000 or 500,000 subscribers. They'll be getting okay views, and then they end up quitting their job and, you know, upgrading their house, upgrading the car, you know, becoming maybe a little bit more materialistic than they were before. And then their kind of 5 minutes of fame fizzles down, and even though they're still getting views, they're not where they were before, and now they are relying on YouTube for literally to be able to feed their family. And I just think that that's really scary. I think that it's scary to not have benefits and not, you know, be in a position where you're receiving kind of that safety net of what a quote normal employer gives. I've also seen a lot of people shift when they start doing YouTube full time. It's gone from being this like humble person just making YouTube videos and, you know, doing their thing, to feeling like they have power and control because they were able to quit their job and now they're doing YouTube full time. And you can sometimes just see this like personality shift happen with these YouTubers, and it puts a bad taste in my mouth. And not saying that I would be that way, but I don't even want to rely on YouTube full time. I don't want to have to ask for subscribers. I don't want to have to, you know, have these different tiers of membership to generate extra money. It's just not my thing. I'm here to make content. Those who want to listen will, those who don't won't, and it's all good. It's an open door policy. The next part was, what content do you like doing most and least when it comes to commentary? Really anything. I'm open to anything. I come across so many random things that I bring to my channel and I give my opinions about. As far as things that I'm maybe a little more reserved is obviously politics and religion, because Those two topics really upset people, and I have some opinions that I will never share on YouTube, simply because if there is one thing the last year has shown me, it's that some opinions are better left unsaid. And what I mean by that is not that I am not being completely honest with my opinions. I'm just reserving some things because I just feel like some people on the internet are not able to just take someone's opinion and move on with their day. That's just the way that it is. And that has really been shown to me over the last year. So I am a little more reserved. I'm still very honest about how I feel. But as far as just talking about everything that I have an opinion about, there are some things that I just put off to the side, and maybe I'll talk about it one day, maybe I won't, but some things really piss people off, and you have a bunch of keyboard warriors and people who think that they're, big and tough, and they will literally cuss you out because they disagree with your opinion. That's the internet. Okay, the next question is, do you have people in your offline life who watch your videos? If so, what are their thoughts? And yes, I do have some, but here's the thing. The commentary space on YouTube, like the creators and influencers that I talk about, most people in my real life don't know who Alicia Doherty is, or Without a Crystal Ball, or Deaf Noodles, or the LeBrant fam, Colleen Ballinger. Like, most people in my life have no clue who that is. So yeah, they'll watch to support my channel. But as far as like really knowing what I'm talking about, they're not in the YouTube sphere, most of them. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. So the next one said, she's been a long time subscriber. She said, I've been around so long, I could probably answer most of these. But her question was, do you remember who your first subscribers were? Has YouTube changed how you relate to people in the real world? I definitely remember some of my first subscribers. Some of them are with me and some of them are not. And goes back to the open door policy. It's all good. But I do recognize people's names who have been around for a really long time. And I think that's awesome because here's the thing. When it comes to like my core subscribers, the people that will watch anything that I put out, it doesn't matter what it's about, I feel like those are the people who understand that we're not always going to see eye to eye. But if you're here for my content and you like the way that I can deliver opinions without being super malicious, that's fine. Like, my closest friends, the people that are closest to me in my real life, we don't agree on stuff. We disagree constantly. But you don't see them, having a hissy fit and slamming down their, cup and walking out of dinner. Like, it's just not as dramatic as it is on YouTube. And I just think that it's really interesting because I appreciate people that I don't always agree with. Because sometimes if I disagree with them, they show me a different side of it. We talk about it and then we move on. And we're still very close and we don't hate each other and we don't sever friendships and ignore each other. We just talk about it. So yes, I definitely remember who some of my first subscribers were. And as far as has YouTube changed how I relate to people in the real world, I just feel like I'm more guarded. I've always had my walls up. Like, I don't randomly interact with people, in the line at the grocery store. Like, I'll be cordial and I'll say, hi, how are you? Whatever. I'm just very in tune with my surroundings. I'm always keeping an eye out around me. And I was doing that before, but I do feel like I'm doing it even more now, just to be really cautious. And if there is one thing that I could tell you guys, it would be to incorporate that into your life now. Even if you're not on YouTube and you don't do anything on social media, keep an eye out around you. Like, we are living in a very crazy, scary world right now. And even though I feel like the world has always been crazy and scary to some degree, the things that you hear about nowadays, it's just, literally, like, a trip to the mall could end horribly, and it could, be some situation that you had no clue you were walking into. But I just feel like I'm way more alert and more reserved for sure. Okay, next one is, I know you've mentioned in the past your love for candle scents and now Pura. Curious what perfumes or colognes you like. So, number one, Coco Mademoiselle. I love it. I know a lot of people wear it, but I've been wearing it since I was literally 18, 19 years old. I remember when I bought my first bottle, it was right around the time that my grandmother got sick. And so for me, it kind of reminds me of that period of time. That's because, that's when I discovered it. But I've worn it for so long. Now I have positive memories to associate with it. And so that's been one that I've worn all the way through. Over the last couple of years, I have fallen in love with the classic Orbe perfume. I'll throw a photo for you guys. That one's really amazing. The Jo Malone Basil and Neroli is also one of my faves. I absolutely love that. So I would say in between those three, like those are kind of on rotation. I don't wear perfume every single day, but I would say 50% of the time I do. So it also helps to reserve because, let's be honest, perfumes are not super cheap. Next is, what is Axel's favorite treat? So I try to do a lot of single ingredient stuff for him. I do my best to keep things really clean and really simple. He loves frozen mango. He like goes nuts over it. Every single time he'll eat the whole plate. Like if I gave him a bag of frozen mangoes, he would eat the whole bag. So obviously, that's a favorite. We also really love the Stella and Chewy's dehydrated. I think they're called Wild Weenies, which is just a funny name, but those are really good. They're dehydrated, limited ingredient. I also give him, they're called these Hunter's jerky rolls, and it's just basically cod skin in the shape of little like 3-inch pieces. I'll throw some photos. I'll link some stuff down below too. If you guys have dogs, obviously I'm not a vet or anything like that, but I would say trying to stick to single ingredient stuff is a really good way to just kind of like, in a way, it's almost like cleaning up your dog's diet. If you think about treats that have 26 ingredients versus a treat that has 4 or 5, it's going to be much, much less complicated. And I don't know about you guys, but the worst times is if Axel has an upset stomach. Like that's just, it makes me worry. It's stressful. It's just something that I hope to avoid as often as possible. And I feel like anytime he's had a treat that is like super complicated and has a bunch of different stuff in it, that's more apt to upset his stomach than something that's single or limited ingredient. Next is, what are some things in your home that you can't live without, whether it's organizing kitchen gadgets, things for your YouTube channel. One of the best investments that we made in the last 6 years was upgrading our mattress. And I know that buying a new mattress can be financially stressful, hard to get a hold of, hard to get the money together. I realize that it is a burden that a lot of people just put off because, let's be honest, it's not cheap to buy a brand new mattress. If you are in a position where in the next year or two, you know that you're going to need your mattress replaced, highly recommend the Lisa mattress. I literally did my research. We were going to go in between Purple, Casper, and Lisa. Lisa just so happened, I think we bought it around Memorial Day, and they were running a really good sale, and it just so happened that it was going to save us like $200 off what we would have paid with Purple or Casper or whatever. The best thing is to be able to come home after a long day and sleep on a mattress that is superb. I also upgraded pillows, so I use the, what's the name of that pillow? Zoe Sleep pillows with the Lisa mattress. Feels so good to get into bed after a really long day. My back never hurts, my side never hurts. Just game changing. And I feel like a mattress, yes, is expensive, but it's worth spending the extra money to forego back pain and an uncomfortable night's sleep. She also asked, what is your favorite book or author or genre of book? I love memoirs, like celebrity memoirs. I listened to Jessica Simpson's Open Book when it came out. It was narrated by her, and I could listen to that again. Really, really good storyteller. I'm very curious about some people's lives, and when they're ready to tell it in a memoir, I'm here for it. And I'm a huge Jessica Simpson fan too, so I really like the fact that she narrated it, and she was a really good storyteller. So if you guys haven't listened to it and you want a new book to listen to, go check hers out. But her last question is, what program do you edit your videos on? I know everyone uses Final Cut, if I can talk. I use InShot Pro, and it's been great. It's not giving me any issues. I do pay for, like, they have a free version and then a paid version. And I do pay for the added features that the pro or paid version has. But it's been worth it, and it's really, really easy to learn as well. And I don't need a whole bunch of features. I'm not doing complicated editing. I just need something that I'm comfortable with so that I can get videos edited and posted. I get this question a lot if my hair is colored. My hair is not colored right now. This is 100% my natural color. And I had so much bleach and semi-permanent and permanent hair color on it for so long. Once I decided to let it grow out, I figured that I would just leave it my natural color for a while. I don't know if I'll ever change it again. Who knows? I can't tell the future. But after doing so much damage for 14, 15 years, because I started coloring my hair when I was like 14 or 15 years old. So I decided to just go ahead and let it do what it was going to do. And I really like the color. I know it always looks kind of different. Sometimes it looks really cool. Sometimes it looks a little more blonde. Sometimes it looks like a really light ash brown. It just depends on the color or not the color, the light. But lots of questions. My hair is not colored, and it's just my color. Okay, next is, what are your pet peeves? How do you deal with hate and trolls? And what would be your dream vacation destination? As far as pet peeves, I cannot stand a liar, and I cannot stand a bully. And I think that's also why it like translates to my content. When someone wants to try to call me a bully, that is one of the things that kind of just like grinds my gears. I'm not up all night thinking about it, but it does piss me off because I have never bullied anybody on YouTube, and I never will. I don't need to. I don't need to call names or bully because the content speaks for itself. And I've said, if you watch my videos and you want to watch this person's videos, have at it. I'm not here to police or try to control what people are watching. But let's also not improperly label people as bullies when they're simply reacting to content. Label the bullies for the people that are actually bullying. Bare minimum. And as far as liars, I've always hated liars. It's just who I am. If you're not ready to be honest, then don't say anything at all. It's pretty simple. And as far as the hate trolls thing, I addressed that in the beginning. The next comment is, what is your forever home must-haves? Single level, a big backyard. That's it. Nothing really big. 2-3 bedrooms. I'm cool. That would be more than what we need. And a really big fenced-in backyard. But like I said, single level, because I just like the ease of having everything on one level. Maybe a basement, maybe not. Basement's not a must-have. But yeah. Oh, and a garage. At least a 1-car garage, minimum. Okay, next comment is, I didn't notice you had a tattoo until recently. My question is, how many do you have and what are they? Why did you get them? And do you ever regret it or do you want more? I have a bunch myself. So how many do I have? Let's see. At this point, I think that I'm up over 20. I might be close to 25, depending on how you want to kind of divvy them up. But yeah, I have a bunch. I've been getting tattooed since the day that I turned 18. I got my first tattoo on my 18th birthday, and I love it. I love the experience of getting tattooed. I like the idea of kind of planning out what I'm going to do next. And it's kind of therapeutic for me. My tattoo artist is really amazing, and we always have a really good conversation. So it's not like that awkward silence where I have to put my AirPods in and just kind of get through it. We always talk, and he's a really good guy. He's well traveled. He always has some kind of like insight to make me think of stuff that I've not necessarily thought about. And he's really cool. So I am definitely going to get more. I'm working on my left arm sleeve right now, and I'm really happy about it. One day I might, I do want to do a tattoo tour, but spoiler alert, some of my tattoos don't have like a really deep meaning. I just liked it, so I decided to get it tattooed. And it's funny to me because some people like, and whatever floats your boat, it's all good. But I feel like some people feel like they have to explain this really special meaning as to like why they got tattooed. I'll give you guys an example. On my outside my arm right here, I have this little safety pin that has 2 hearts like pinned through it. It's not really special. I thought it was cute. I needed to fill a hole, so I filled the hole with that tattoo that I had saved. And maybe it is really important and meaningful for some people, but I like being tattooed. I like getting tattooed. I like everything about it. And a lot of my tattoos do not have a really deep spiritual meaning, if that makes sense. So, what are your top 3 candles and why? So number 1 would be anything from Capri Blue. I love all of their candles. Number 2, I like some of the random candles that Anthropologie will come out with. I don't know if it's their in-house brand or what it is, but sometimes they have like, there's this one called Night Gardenia. I love it. I have one on the on my nightstand right now that I've been burning at night. Bath & Body Works candles, I do like Bath & Body Works candles because when you get them on sale, they're a decent price. I would never pay full price for a Bath & Body Works candle. And I also, you have to babysit a Bath & Body Works candle because if you let the wicks get too long, there will be soot and smoke in the air, and that's the last thing that I want. So I feel like you have to be super careful with those and the wick trimming and keeping an eye on them. So yeah, I would say those are top 3. Favorite lip products, lip balm. I'm over the lip gloss and lipstick and lip stain and all this kind of stuff. Just give me a lip balm. Any old lip balm. Laneige, Trait Beauty, something kind of middle of the road. I don't care. Just give me a good lip balm. Lana Lips. I love the Lana Lips Banana Balm. Really good. And favorite band or artist. Anytime someone asks me this, I automatically go to Mac Miller just because Mac Miller holds a special place in my heart. His story, his personality, his talent is unmatched, and his passing hit me like no other celebrity passing has ever hit me before. And I think that he was just, we will never see another Mac Miller, at least in my lifetime, and I feel confident saying that. So to keep things simple, I would just go to Mac Miller because I think that he was undervalued. I think that a lot of people started to value him after his passing, but I valued him during his life, and I know a lot of other people did too. All right. In a conversation, would you rather listen to someone or be the one who talks? It depends on the topic. It depends on the person. I'm a really good listener. I listen to a lot of people in my real life, and I will talk when it's my turn to talk, which I know people are right now screaming at their camera, "You're a hypocrite. You have a commentary channel." The internet and real life, like those conversations are two completely different things. Of course, I'm going to talk on my YouTube channel. If I turn on my camera and don't talk, what the hell are we here for? But as far as in my real life, I I like to listen, and sometimes it's not even required for me to talk back. Sometimes people just need to vent out their frustrations, and that's all good. I can be both depending on the situation. Someone asked if I've ever thought about covering the Duggar family. No, not really, because I think that the issues with the Duggars are so widespread, and I am not educated enough on their history. It would probably take me 3 months of homework to just be caught up to current day on them. And to be quite honest, these fundy, large families that have all these fucked up issues are widely covered. And frankly, I find the Duggar family extremely triggering. And I think that it's appalling that they were given such a large platform. And there are still people who are cheering them on. Okay, next question. Do you enjoy playing or watching video games? No. I've never been a video game person. I have never been like entertained or intrigued with the idea of video games. It's just not my thing. And then they also asked about movies and books and stuff, and I kind of answered that earlier. As far as movies, I'm not a huge movie person. I prefer like a really good documentary. I do have some favorite movies, but for the most part, I prefer a documentary. Okay, so there are a few questions here that I have not answered before. Do you enjoy traveling? Have you traveled domestically or internationally? I've never been out of the US. I would like to at some point in time. I've traveled all over the US, but I have never been outside of the United States. Do you speak a second language? No, I do not. And you mentioned that you volunteered before in a shelter and you were quite aware of how the food prep is run. Do you enjoy volunteering? Yeah, I love to volunteer. I wish that I had a little bit more of a threshold to volunteer at animal shelters, but my issue with shelters is I get very triggered, and I will be that girl at the animal shelter who has like a full-on mental breakdown because I'm seeing a dog, basically be turned in by his owners, and I will want to like cuss the owners out and then have a mental breakdown and like hold this dog in my arms. Y'all already know I'm just like a crazy dog lady. If that makes me, some kind of like batshit crazy person, fine. But yeah, working at the homeless shelter really opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and it's a moving experience. Like if anyone watching this video has not ever volunteered at a local homeless shelter, I encourage you to do so. And I think that after the first time that you go and spend your time there, whether it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever, you'll know what I'm talking about, where like when you leave, it's this feeling of just feeling beyond grateful, and it kind of like takes it out of you. I felt very like I just like poured everything into the hours that I would spend there. And afterwards I would feel so grateful, but I would also feel very drained. So I don't know. Does that make sense to you guys? Have you volunteered at a homeless shelter? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. She also talked about treats for Axel, which I addressed earlier. Okay, this is a great comment. She said, "Hi Britt, I enjoy your content very much. One thing I have wondered is, have you ever felt doing this kind of work has changed you as a person? I try to put myself in your shoes. I think I might have a tendency to become more cynical and critical of others. I think I would find myself being more likely to look for fault in others. I don't know if that's something you've experienced or not. I don't think that my YouTube channel has really changed anything. I just have a platform to voice my frustrations on. I would always come across stuff and have an opinion, and I'd be telling my boyfriend and my, couple of my friends and sounding off and doing all this kind of stuff. And it's like, sometimes like people don't necessarily see the same things as you see. So now I have a channel where I see something, I say something, and some people agree and some people don't, and we have a conversation about it. And that's what makes YouTube so interesting. But I don't feel like I'm more cynical or more critical or less critical of things in my everyday life because of my channel. Someone said, do you like to cook, and what's your favorite thing to cook? I like to cook sometimes. We all have those lazy days where it's like carry out is just easier and you don't feel like messing around in the kitchen. As far as favorite thing to cook, I love pasta. Like I could eat pasta every single day if it wasn't going to become boring. Pasta every day on the menu. It also makes really good leftovers. So it's just easy, and you can switch out the protein, you can switch out veggies and do different stuff. You can have a red sauce, a white sauce, no sauce at all. So pasta is really easy, and there's just so many different recipes. Buy 4 different kinds of noodles and have at it. Okay, next comment is, if you could choose any place to visit, where would it be and why? It would definitely be Latvia. I want to go there one day to explore my grandmother's, place where she was raised and spent her childhood before she came to America. So definitely Latvia. Hopefully one day I can make that happen. Do you have a healthy program for dealing with negative comments or opinions coming your way? I've heard you say you don't address the trolls, but is it easy to not consider the messages? I will consider the messages as long as they don't come from a place of hatred and just being cruel. Like I said in the beginning of the video, like if you don't like me just because I talk about family vloggers, then there's not really anything that I can say or do that will appease you. And I'm not here to appease somebody who is going to incorrectly label me and I'm just a bad guy. No matter what happens, how can we, blame Brit, make Brit the bully, make Brit the bad guy? And it's just like, it gets really tiring. So if somebody wants to have a conversation with me, I'm always all ears for that. But if you're just here to point the finger and say, oh, well, why would you talk about family vloggers? It's like, I've given you hundreds of reasons why I talk about family vloggers and these other toxic ass influencers. And if you have a problem with that and you just don't like me, then move along, and that's why I pay you no mind. I'm over here on my side, you stay on your side, and have a good day. Someone asked if I've ever been emailed cease and desist notices from YouTubers. No, I have not, knock on wood. But I think that also, this is a really interesting thing is, and I don't want to jinx anything, obviously, but I stay within my means. So if I see something on the internet and talk about it, that's just what I'm talking about. It's my opinion on something that I see digitally. This is how I feel about what I am seeing on my screen. I think that commentary channels get themselves into really sticky situations when they start coming out with crazy conspiracies, slandering the YouTubers or people that they're talking about, and coming out with outright lies and not saying allegedly. That's why people, kind of laugh at the word allegedly, but it actually means something. Do you have a favorite tinted moisturizer with sunscreen? Yes, Laura Mercier. I like the oil-free and the normal version. The oil-free version, I think, offers a little bit more coverage than the original, but it just kind of depends on what your skin needs. But I love the Laura Mercier one. Have you ever told us how you got Axel? I'd like to hear that story. Yeah, so essentially, we went 6 long years without a dog, and we decided that we wanted to get a chocolate lab. So I did tons, like weeks of research on kind of how we were going to make this happen. I ended up connecting with the people who had Axel, and we waited a really long time. We took a really long road trip because the couple would not ship puppies, which I loved. And we definitely weren't going to put a dog, small puppy on a plane. So we went ahead and made the road trip. It was amazing. It was a really, really exciting and emotional day. And that's it. He's been spoiled rotten since day one. And, you guys know the rest. Someone said, are you from Texas? No, I'm not from Texas. I've actually not been to Texas. Not once. What's your favorite skincare line, as you have the healthiest complexion on YouTube? I wish I had the healthiest complexion. When I'm asked about skincare, the number one thing that I can tell you guys, if you are in a position to, get on tretinoin. Get a prescription for tretinoin, consult with your doctor, consult with your nurse practitioner, or whoever you see, your dermatologist. Consult with them, and if you are in a place where they will approve a prescription of tretinoin for you, start tretinoin. It will be a painful, aggravating process initially, but it is absolutely worth it. Tretinoin is the gold star masterpiece for skincare. Nothing that you can buy at Sephora, Ulta, all these high-end retailers will do what tretinoin will do for your skin. Fine lines, uneven tone, wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, post-acne hyperpigmentation, acne breakouts, everything is covered by tretinoin. Do some research, consult with your doctor, and that would be if I was only going to give one piece of advice, get on tretinoin and thank me later. Someone asked if I had a P.O. box so that subscribers could send me stuff. I actually shut down my P.O. box. I did have it for about 6 months, but I ended up getting rid of it just because I kind of felt like, I got to this point where it was like, I don't want anyone to feel obligated that I'm saying I have a P.O. box, so it's like me indirectly asking for stuff to be sent to me. It just kind of started to feel kind of awkward, and so I decided to shut it down. I don't know if I'm going to open another one. I'm not sure, but as of right now, instead of sending gifts, just engage with my videos. That's the biggest thing that you can do to support my channel. I don't want gifts from you guys. Just engage with my videos, share them, leave a comment. That's the best thing that you guys can do for me. Okay, so the last question is, what is your sun, moon, and rising sign? I hope you don't answer this in a video, as it would be a waste. I think she meant like in its own video. And she was right. She said, I think Virgo and or Capricorn must be in there somewhere, but probably not, as it would be so stereotypical. So here's the thing. I had to look because all I know is my zodiac sign. I don't know about, and if y'all can hear Axel, he's right here snoring. But my zodiac sign is Leo. My rising sign is Virgo. My moon is Capricorn. Leo sun, Virgo rising, Capricorn moon. So I don't know, whatever that means, have at it. But either way, I wanted to share that. I'm not super into zodiac stuff. Like I don't look at my stuff super often, but sometimes it clicks and sometimes it makes sense. So either way, I think I got through most of those. Some of them were repeats, but I will do another in the future. So yeah, hopefully this was useful. And before I close this video out, I just want to say that I think sometimes the way that I carry myself comes across as, oh, you're better than everybody else. You're snobby. You're doing all of this kind of stuff. And going forward, since I'm not going to constantly clarify my stance because I don't need to, I just want to make it very clear that there is a big difference. And I think most of y'all know this. When you're delivering criticism from a place of concern and able to have a conversation about it versus if your criticism is coming from a place of hatred and just simply not liking the person because you disagree with their opinion, but their content's not problematic, because my content is not bullying. It is not slander. It is not hateful. It's not bringing out a pitchfork or anything like that. And I can stand on that. There's just a really big difference. And so either way, those who like you will like you, and those who don't. And I'm always here to have a conversation. But if your opinions and your criticism are driven by hate, I will ignore the shit out of you. So either way, that's going to be the end of my little rant Q&A for today. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.